Yo, what is up guys, Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So, Devin Haney defeats Vasyl Lomachenko by a 12-round unanimous decision to retain the undisputed lightweight titles. Now, the fallout to this decision is that of controversy. Many people felt that Lomachenko won this fight and was shafted in Las Vegas. Now, when it comes to this fight, the boxing community as a whole was very excited for it, I would say. However, I made no pre-fight videos discussing this fight, nothing of the sorts. Quite frankly, my intuition told me that at the end of this, we would be shortchanged. Now for me, my initial thought was this fight's going to be boring, no matter who won, and that it wouldn't really be worth staying up for. However, I was wrong on that. It was actually a really good fight in my opinion, a really watchable fight. However, you know, the fact that this fight has come with the tag of robbery, corruption, once again, you know, not a good look for boxing. So I guess in a sense my intuition was right. A lot of people have felt shortchanged by this fight. It's funny, right? Intuition. A lot of people maybe have that part of their brain switched off, you know, the trust the science crowd. If you know, you know. But anyway, yeah, it was a good fight in my opinion. Now, I actually woke up and watched this fight. I went to bed and my initial plan was to wake up the next morning and watch it on replay. However, I woke up in the middle of the night, about 5 AM, so I decided to get up, watch it, and then go back to bed, basically. So when I was watching this fight, I was very tired, I was half asleep, it is what it is. I'm going to say this right now, my initial reaction right after the fight happened, as we were waiting for the scorecards, was that the fight reeked of a draw. And what I mean by that is, in my opinion, there were like a few toss-up rounds that could have gone either way. It was somewhat of a fight of two halves. You know, both guys had success. Both guys really brought their A game to the table. I was kind of expecting a draw to be announced. And that was my gut feeling after this fight. So yeah, I didn't score this fight round by round as I was watching it. I was just enjoying what I was seeing. And I did enjoy the fight. I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected, actually. But the interesting thing is the sheer amount of people who scored this fight for Lomachenko, either 7 rounds to 5, 8 rounds to 4. I think 8 rounds to 4 to either guy is probably too much, personally. But anyway, I see most people who I follow, 95% of people maybe who I follow, scored this fight for Lomachenko, people I respect. So I'll bear that in mind, I'll go back and watch and rescore this fight. But the most interesting thing surrounding the post-fight reaction to this fight is that several people gave this fight to Lomachenko who I really didn't expect to, for various reasons. And when I see something like that, you know, I have to go back and score it properly round by round. I should have really done it before I made this video, but it is what it is. I felt Devin Haney started this fight pretty well. I felt round 1 was a toss-up round, one of those rounds that could have gone either way. I actually think CompuBox had this fight even in terms of punches landed. I seem to remember Lomachenko landing a good left uppercut, maybe, in round 1. Arguably the best punch of the rounds. But yeah, round 1, in my opinion, was one of those rounds that could have gone either way. Some people scored it for Haney, others scored it for Lomachenko. Is what it is. Round 2, I felt Haney was boxing really well. Keeping distance against Lomachenko, mixing things up. Sometimes he tried to hold his feet and get Lomachenko's respect. He found a home for his, like a looping, long right hand to the body. That shot was really successful for Devin Haney, especially in the first 6-7 rounds. Haney's right hands to the body, in my opinion, were his best punches throughout this fight. They were his most successful punches. And in general, I felt Devin Haney was at his best when he was punching from range, when he was punching from the outside. Long punches. You know, Lomachenko still had his own success. He was finding a home for his lead straight left hand out of that southpaw stance, We saw that in a big way in round 3. I felt Lomachenko performed really well in round 3. Sometimes he would double up his straight left hand, maybe touch once, then come through hard on the second shot. Ambushed Devin Haney a few times in the third round. I felt that Devin Haney was holding his own but getting outpointed, and he was getting caught with the better shots from Lomachenko. After round 3, I felt you could have had either guy 2 rounds to 1 up, depending on what you liked. After the third round, I felt it was nip and tuck, many rounds were close. Devin Haney was landing really good single punches, again, especially to the body. Though I have to say, I felt a lot of his headshots were over-exaggerated by the commentary team. Lomachenko was doing a good job of covering up shots to the head. It was really the body shots in which he wasn't doing as well defending. And Haney, he found a home for that shot throughout this fight. Haney was pulling off some really impressive moves against Lomachenko now and again. I think in one of the middle rounds, I noticed a really good pivot left hook by Devin Haney. He kind of ushered Lomachenko in and pivoted out with his left hook, catching Lomachenko, making Lomachenko reset. Really good stuff by Devin Haney. And sometimes he'd time Lomachenko coming in. He'd shorten that right hand just a little bit and he'd throw like an uppercut to the body. Once again, good punch selection by Devin Haney, good variation in his offense. But it also in rounds, Lomachenko was the guy who was putting his shots together more. He certainly landed the more eye-catching headshots in this fight, without a doubt. And also as this fight played out, I felt that Devin Haney's snappy punches, the power on them was getting less and less, because early on, Devin Haney was really putting a lot of mustard into his right hands to the body, and it made the side of Lomachenko's body red. Like, he was landing good shots. But in the second half of this fight, I felt the power from Devin Haney's punches was starting to deplete, personally. I also don't think he was using his jab enough either in the second half of this fight. Possibly one reason for that was because when Devin Haney would throw the jab, he would keep his head on centre line. So every time Lomachenko could evade that jab or come underneath it, Lomachenko would then counter with his southpaw left hand. So Lomachenko was starting to counter Devin Haney during the mid-rounds of this fight and towards the end. And I think that put Devin Haney off throwing his jab. Lomachenko had a really big round 10 and round 11. Round 10, again, this is where the controversy comes, I would say, because I wasn't scoring this fight round by round, but I clearly saw Lomachenko won round 10. It was obvious. There's no claim you can make for Devin Haney winning round 10, but I think either one or two of the judges had Haney winning round 10, which is unbelievable, personally. He was completely outlanded, caught by really good straight left hands, etc. And Lomachenko kind of bossed round 10. Round 11, Devin Haney was hurt. He was caught with a left hand to the head, followed by a left uppercut as well. Haney was trying to hold on for dear life in round 11, but he gets through it. But he was significantly outlanded in round 11. I think he was outlanded, like, in regards to power shots, 20 shots to 2 or something like that, according to CompuBox, that is. Again, CompuBox isn't always accurate, but Lomachenko dominated round 11. And at this point in time, it looked like Devin Haney was gassing. But to be fair to Devin Haney, I felt he came out in round 12 and had a good round 12. Round 12 is one of those rounds, again, I've seen online. Some people have scored it to Lomachenko, others scored it to Devin Haney. Again, based on my initial watch, I felt he won round 12, personally. There was a couple of good exchanges in round 12 by both men, but Devin Haney was picking out some good singles, whereas Lomachenko, I felt, was following Devin Haney around a little too much. He never went through the gears or went for the gusto in round 12 in what was a close fight. And I felt that gave Devin Haney round 12. Now again, as this fight ended, I had this feeling that maybe this fight is a draw, but if anybody won this fight, I can see where people are coming from, because, Devin was the only guy hurt in this fight. Lomachenko clearly landed the more eye-catching headshots. And he was the guy forcing the pace in this fight. And again, according to CompuBox, he did outland, that is, Lomachenko outlanded Devin Haney in this fight, and in more rounds than Haney outlanded Lomachenko. Again, CompuBox isn't always accurate, I get that, but it's a reference point. So I can understand why people felt Lomachenko won this fight. So yeah, maybe this fight was a gift for Devin Haney. I have to go back and really score it, really assess it, because again, you know, I'd been asleep for 3 or 4 hours. I woke up, I was half asleep, I watched it, I went back to bed, so I've not watched it since either. So yeah, I need to go back and score this one. I need to go back and score this one. I will say though, it was a really good fight. Lomachenko performed better than I was expecting. I still believe Lomachenko is on the slide. He's not the fighter he once was, but he still proved he's at a world-class level. As for Devin Haney, I felt this was the best Devin Haney has ever looked. He really impressed me, especially in the first half of this fight. Looked quick, looked relaxed, picking some really good shots, good defense as well. I felt both guys really brought their A game to the table. You had a guy in Lomachenko who is now a bit past his best, versus a guy in Devin Haney who maybe is not quite at his best yet. I still think Devin Haney can get better as a fighter. It was one of those fights where both guys met at a really good time, you know, in regards to making a good fight for us fans. And it definitely was. It was a good fight. And it's a shame that, once again, a big fight in boxing is marred by controversy, etc, etc. It's a shame. It really is a shame. But I need to go back and watch this fight. I'm not quite ready to call it a robbery just yet. I know, again, so many people are calling it that, but I need to go back and watch it and score it properly, because I was just super tired when I was watching this. In fact, I was half asleep, so maybe I've missed a lot here. Maybe I've missed a lot, but that was just my initial impressions of the fight. Of course, watching it live, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. As for the next options, I mean, that's interesting, because I would really like to see a rematch based on what I saw. I really enjoyed the fight, and regardless, it was, you know, it was controversial, right? Public perception rules the day, and, you know, the public see this fight as controversial, so I think a rematch makes perfect sense. I really do. If both guys go down a different route, I would like to see Lomachenko go down to 130, you know, a weight class that is actually suited to him, because we all know Lomachenko is a very small lightweight. So maybe Lomachenko could have one more run at 130. That could be interesting. In the meantime, Devin Haney could fight Shakur Stevenson, which in itself is a really good fight. By the way, based on what I saw, although I was very impressed with Haney during parts of his fight, I would favour Shakur to beat Devin Haney, you know, personally. But anyway, share your thoughts below. How did you score this fight? How did you score this fight? I'm going to go back and score it myself. Share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Del Boy. Peace.